Late night conversations. Late night conversations. Monday to Thursday, 10 p.m. till midnight.
Late night conversations on SAFM with me, Patricia Ntuli. You can interact with us and join in on the conversation by calling us on 0891 104 207. Alternatively, call 011 714 4045, 011 714 2788. For WhatsApps, you can WhatsApp us on 0614 104 107 or SMS 41391. SMSs are charged at R1.50. You can get us as well on social media platforms at SAFM Radio or at Patricia Ntuli. Today on our social conversations, we are speaking about us parents, adults, grandparents, guardians, trying to live our lives vicariously through our children. Joining us all the way from India is Anupama Dalmia, who is a Karvamir Chakra awardee, silver, a Shiro champion, a 20 times award-winning blogger, author, serial entrepreneur, social influencer, and a mentor. Thank you very much for joining us, Anupama.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Patricia. It's my pleasure.
And I do understand that the time of day for you right now is at 2 a.m., so we really appreciate you on the show.
Wow. Yes. Yeah, as I said, it's my pleasure.
And we've also got Dr. Newopule, who is right here in South Africa to give us the South African perspective. Dr. Newopule is a counseling psychologist and an academic. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Pule.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Dr. Pule, and I'd like us to start with you. As a psychologist, a counseling psychologist, have you found that a lot of students or a lot of young people are under frustration because their parents or guardians are trying to live vicariously through them?
I have. A lot is relative, right? But in my experience working in private practice and working in student counseling centers, you find students coming to consult usually for career counseling, or maybe even feeling a little bit low. We can record some depressive symptoms because there is conflict between themselves and their parents over what they are studying and the direction of career that they've chosen or that they're registered for, being that the choice of the parents. So you'd find that the students would be unhappy at the university because they're studying something that they would have rather not studied, and they made their choice because they wanted to make their parents happy.
Do you think it's only at a university level, or does this pressure from parents start at the bottom, from primary school level, where parents are expecting their children to be super achievers because they could not achieve things at school?
Sure. I mean, look, I want to make a general statement to say most parents want their children to have excellent lives. Most parents want to be excellent parents, and they really want the best for their children. But sometimes this may involve encouraging children not to repeat their mistakes. And it may also involve parents who want to live up to a certain ideal of parenthood, which may sometimes be unrealistic. So, this is not particularly related to the child's age as such, but really the parent's state of mind and really what they would want to see happen with their children. But this is mostly about them than the child themselves.
Anupama, you're a parent, and you wrote an article that really touched a lot of parents' lives and would-be parents and guardians. The article was titled, "I don't expect my child to achieve my dreams. She will live her dreams, not mine." Can you tell us about what sparked this particular article that you wrote?
Yes. So I'm a writer and I write a lot on parenting, and this just comes from my own experience. Of course, I'm no expert. So the reason I wrote that article was that I do see that around a lot, that at times, we as parents, and it's not that it's just others, it's me as well, we I think most of us do have unfulfilled dreams due to various reasons, sometimes due to struggles in the family. Like if I take the example of my own mom, she had an aspiration to become a doctor, but she lost her father at a young age, and there were other issues in the family. Sometimes there are economic challenges. So due to various reasons, parents do have dreams which remain unfulfilled. And I do see that because we view our children as an extension of us, rather than as separate individuals who have their own dreams or aspirations. So we, somewhere, because we try to relive those dreams with them, somewhere we try to maybe, release that disappointment of not having fulfilled our dream through children. But I realize as a parent that that is not really good, because, of course, my child should know what she really wants to be. And as a parent, I need to be that guiding light for her. So that was the reason, actually, that's how I thought of writing about it. And, I did hear a lot of such comments, from people around where we do say that, oh, I hope, she fulfills this, dream of mine, or say, maybe sometimes we tell this to our friends as well. So when I wrote that article, my intention was to convey that as parents, of course, we are guiding our children, but at the same time, I think we have to help them identify what they really want. And that is what that article was about, and that is what I hope to achieve too as a parent.
Now, we've heard a lot of stories of young people committing suicide. Dr. Ntuli, could this be because they are under pressure? They are doing what they did not want to do and doing what will fulfill their parents' dreams without the parents actually being explicit about what their expectations are of their children?
It's possible. I mean, there will be many things that happen before we can relate this kind of pressure directly to suicide. But definitely, I have seen, young people who are really pressured and really spiral into psychological functioning that would be negative for them, that could then lead to suicide. What I want to mention is that when people or children choose what they want to become, or what direction they want to follow, they need to have some sense of self-knowledge and some sense of self-discovery. And one really is able to make that kind of decision when they're clear about who they are and they've been able to answer this question quite clearly. Now, when they have pressure from somewhere else, even if from their parents, this can be a very stressful thing to swallow and time to be in, and then that can push someone to commit suicide, because when I cannot define who I am, I don't know what I'm living for, therefore I don't have anything to live for.
Listen, I've got children. I'm a mother. Although my children are not yet of teenage years and they're still quite young, I don't foresee how a parent then takes up the role to say, I was not able to be a doctor, or I was not able to be a teacher or an accountant or a prosperous business person, then I'm going to enforce it on my child. What causes that mindset in a parent? Maybe, Anupama, you can take this one on.
Yes, so like I said earlier too, I think sometimes, like I said, at times I feel it also happens because maybe somebody doesn't want the child to go through a certain kind of struggle. Now, say suppose someone wanted to become a doctor, say for example, and couldn't become a doctor due to certain life challenges, maybe because of economic conditions. And somewhere the mindset is that, becoming a doctor would actually be good for my child. So I guess that is one of the reasons why maybe, some parents would think that way, that, okay, maybe I want my child to become a doctor or maybe an engineer. That could be one of the reasons, I think, as a parent. That's what I feel. And another reason, I think, as I said, I think it enhances their self-worth, maybe their own self-worth, because maybe they associate it with their child's success and how their child is, faring in their life. So I think that also could be one of the reasons, that it adds to their own self-worth. So, of course, as a parent, as I said, that I would really like my child to follow her calling and, of course, not what I want for her. But I think these could be some of the reasons why I feel that a parent may want a certain, has a certain aspiration for the child, specific, something which they feel would actually be helpful for the child, but they may not really realize that it can, actually be harmful if the child really is not at all interested in a certain line of work.
Dr. Pule, what causes us as parents or guardians to want to enforce our dreams that we could not live on our children?
Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a long route to answer your question, because I also want to answer it in the South African context, and really, make some references to that. But this conversation that we're having belongs probably in the social learning theory. That is about modeling and imitating others. So parents want to be modeled for a sense of validation, a sense of achievement, acknowledgement, and to fix their mistakes maybe. And in the South African context, we need to also remember that for many parents, they did not have the opportunities that children today have. And if I, as a parent, take that as a negative, a back foot, a minus on my scorecard, then I would rather want my child to have something better. So I might then want to live my life through my child and dream about what I would have been had I had the opportunities. So this has also that kind of political, social, cultural angle, if we look at the history that we've had. But the conflict will, of course, come from the fact that children are their own persons, even though they are part of the family, but they are individuals. And they would obviously, it would obviously be the best case scenario if parents would let them shine in their own light.
Dr. Pule, thank you. Let's come back after this.
Late Night Conversations with Patricia Ntuli. Monday to Thursday, 10 p.m. till midnight.
Late Night Conversations on SAFM, leading the conversation. We are speaking social issues right now, and the question is, are you as a parent or a guardian living vicariously through your children? The guest that we have is Dr. Neo Pule, who's a counseling psychologist and an academic. And we also have Anupama Dalmia, who is all the way in India. She is a Shiro champion, 20 times award-winning blogger, author, serial entrepreneur, social influencer, and a mentor. We are speaking their experiences and also experiences with various patients that they've interacted with. You can call us on 0891 104 207 or WhatsApp 0614 104 4107. I'd like to go to a WhatsApp right now. And the listener does not give us their name, but he says, good evening, Patricia. Thank you for such a beautiful show. I'm 26 years old and I grew up without a father in my life. So my mother has been there for me, and I realize that every time I do something, I have to be very sure that it makes her happy. She has had these big dreams that she couldn't achieve. So now I'm in a position that I have to give her everything that she wished for. And she'll even say, if you do this, I'll be very happy. Then I'll be in a corner to do it because it makes her happy. So I agree that children sometimes do things to make parents happy, and at the end of the day, they live a whole repeat of their parents' lives. Sure, this is, on the one hand, it's heartwarming to know that there are children who'd want to go over and beyond to please their parents. But you also ask yourself, when will this particular individual live their life? Dr. Pule, why do us as parents, right, always want to express subconsciously or subliminally our pressure to our children? Because it's also pressure that we are putting on our children when we tell them what big dreams we had and we could not achieve because of perhaps falling pregnant or having a partner leave us or a partner pass away.
So we did touch on this a little bit earlier. where I mentioned that, parents, from being modeled, so they would like to be modeled. And if they are models, then they get a sense of validation from it, a sense of achievement from it, and they can also get acknowledgement. They get a chance to almost redo their lives. So it may sound unfair, but as you say, it's at quite an unconscious level. Sometimes, many times, we're not aware as parents that is what we're doing. Redoing our lives through the next person. At another level, parents can see themselves in their children, the child that looks like a certain parent could sometimes have most pressure from the specific parent that they look like because of the very fact that they look like them. So that parent sees themselves through that child. But these are very, unconscious dynamics that happen in relationships between children and parents.
Anupama, what made you very conscious about your decision of not living vicariously through your children?
Yes, so I have been very conscious about this with my child because, I think what happens is normally we tend to make it so much about us, as you said, that it becomes a lot about making us happy, making us proud, and then I think that tendency happens that, okay, we have to make our parents happy, and that, again, once we cross the line, it can be really harmful for the kids. So I, as a parent, have been quite conscious with my child, though right now she's just 5-year-old, but I try to avoid saying things to her which make her feel that, if she does something, it is because it will make me proud. So like it could be a very small thing. If she has to sit and maybe make a craft, say, for example, and then I don't say that, oh, you please do it because, if you do it well, it's going to make me proud. I rather talk to her about how it's giving her happiness, how we are, bonding over a certain activity. And I try to make it more about the happiness, the bonding, and the relationship rather than, talking to her about how a certain thing might be making me proud. And of course, I do appreciate her when she achieves something, but I try consciously to avoid making her feel that she has, I don't want to put that pressure on her that whatever she does, it is just to make us happy or us proud as parents. And both my husband and I consciously try to achieve that with my daughter.
Children are human beings, and this is one thing I think parents need to come to understand. Children are not just an extension of who we are. They are human beings. So I like the point that you've made, Anupama, the fact that when you engage in an activity with your child, it's not about the child making you proud. It's about the child doing an activity that fulfills them and you having that time with that child. I've got a WhatsApp here from Stephen. Steve says, I think all things that happen in one's life are spiritually and God plans for them. You cannot change. As a parent, I had plans for my sons, but thank God they are successfully married gentlemen with good jobs. So, and Steve is here putting a spiritual element to the fact that yes, we can plan for our children, but if there is also a higher power that one believes in, those things will just happen for those children, whether or not we plan or we force our will on them. Are you there, Dr. Pule?
Yeah, I'm here.
As we close off, could you just give us advice for children who are currently under pressure from their parents and also advice for parents?
Okay. What I would like to say is that children, because children are their own persons, they need their own self-efficacy, which means that they need to feel their own sense of competence. And when they feel their own sense of competence, they will actually be able to make themselves proud and their parents proud because they will be good at what they're doing. They'll be able to achieve. And in that way, I guess, parents can feel as though, that their children are making them proud and they can get that sense of achievement together with the children. I think it is a good thing for parents to celebrate with their children and for parents to celebrate their children, instead of focusing on conflicts and things that would cause ruptures in parent-children relationships. So I've really enjoyed the example that your guest has given as well in terms of bonding with her child when her child is doing well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pule. And just in closing for just a couple of seconds, Anupama.
Yes.
Your comments in closing.
Yeah, so I think I would just like to close by saying that there is nothing wrong in having dreams for your children, and it's just that we shouldn't encumber them with it. So, and expecting that they are going to fulfill it is unfair. So we can dream for them all they want, but at the end of the day, we have to be the guiding light for our kids, for them to follow their calling and treat them as individuals with their own dreams and desires. And I think that's the best way to build that healthy bonding with our children when it comes to our expectations from each other.
Thank you so very much. Let's move on to the news with Zoleka Kodashe.